I have this new camera angle. I feel like every time I shoot something, there's a new angle. I have a very short desk. It's very hard to figure out how to make this all work. And this office is such a weird space. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. At this point in open world games, there's a very important function that makes anything up to par with what we consider worthy in the modern gaming space. And it's kind of the simple question of, do you see that mountain over there? Do you think I can climb it? This trend, if you will, is something that started, I would say, probably around when Skyrim was released in 2011. It's insane that game has been out for 10 years and been re-released like 400 times at this point, but that's a topic for later. But I feel like that this question was put in the zeitgeist in the general gaming community with 2017's release of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And it's a really simple concept. If you are creating a world for a player to inhabit, make that world as immersive as possible by allowing it to be completely traversable, so that you don't have a situation where, a player goes, oh, I want to go over there, and then there's, an invisible wall that doesn't allow them to. And as many other, more successful, more professional, just probably better videos on YouTube have pointed out, that Elden Ring is, Dark Souls meets Breath of the Wild. But this video isn't really about that. While I think Elden Ring's, world is extremely impressive, and the fact that it is so like, hey, what's that ruined city over there? And then, 40 hours later, you end up being in it. Is a really neat factor of Elden Ring, which definitely helps the immersion. There's something else that I think helps with the feeling of exploration and almost this addictive aspect that we'll get into of replayability later on. And it's a side quest. We're going to be talking about the side quest. So yeah, the side quest. That's what we're talking about. So for the uninitiated, Elden Ring is of course the newest game from Software. And unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard how amazing it is, and you have heard how successful it is, and how you have to play this game. It's a really good game. I'm not here to bash that. I love this game. It's a really good game. Anyway, I'd like to make it very clear that this game deserves all the success it's been having. From a rich and content-packed game with wonderful graphics, masterful world building, it's a rare gem in today's AAA market where, games are coming out that are half-baked, extremely content dry. Halo Infinite, no. There's plenty more. I'm not just bashing on Halo. But with all the pros listed above, the very short list when it has a very big list, it's very important to make clear that this game is not for everyone. And that's a whole nother topic that the gaming space on YouTube has been dealing with for a while now with the whole Ackman situation. With that other dude that I don't know sucks, he's copywriting people, I don't know. But that's where that all started from. This game is not for everyone, and games should not be. Very clear. And from its difficulty, its general performance, the general accessibility of it as a title, and then some people just don't even like the art style. Your opinion's wrong, but whatever. You have to remember that this is a game from a team that has been developing games of this nature for a really long time, and to great success, I might say. But there is another thing that I've seen brought up a myriad of times in people's criticism with Elden Ring, but very few defending FromSoft's game design and how it all functions, and that's really its unique approach to side quests. Now, in many open world games, the thought of a side quest is extremely simple. You find an NPC, you go up, you talk to them, they give you some dialogue, they'll tell you a task, maybe they'll give you an item, you get the new quest added to your quest journal, and then you open up the map and you go to the location and do the next part of it, or all it is just get over there and you're done. And of course, with that quest journal, you can either choose to track it or untrack the mission, and it's pretty straightforward, right? It's kind of just checking off the boxes. But it's very important to note that Elden Ring is very, very, very different, extremely different. You see, the main quest, the main story, the main goal is extremely simple: become Elden Lord. And to achieve that, all you need to do is continue making your way closer and closer to this giant glowing tree called the Erd Tree. And you have to go there because the Elden Lord is currently there and all this stuff. I'm not going to get into the lore of this whole game, but all you have to do is get to this big tree, basically. Hi, I couldn't just let this section pass. I've watched too many Elden Ring lore videos to, you know, be okay with that. Technically, this isn't like a great summary of the plot that past Ryan did. This isn't a lore video, though. I understand that you're not necessarily going there to become Elden Lord. You kind of don't really know why you're going there. You can choose so many different endings and whatever, and technically Markith is there, and Markith is the Greater Will, but Radagon's there, who is the second Elden Lord, so technically that comment does make sense. I don't know, I just didn't, I wanted to clarify that I understand. I wanted to get ahead of it for the comments, if there was any. So, yeah, back to you, past Ryan. Bye. Without any real guides from the UI, you just kind of are slowly making your way towards this giant tree. You know you're going to get to that tree, and you're just kind of going through the world and just trying to get over there, right? Now, along the way, there's a couple hiccups that you kind of have to sidetrack and veer, but that's really it. It's a very straightforward concept. But what's very important to know is that you aren't given a lot of indications on where to go. The game kind of naturally pushes you in a direction, but there's no, glowing trail on the ground like in Fable. You don't really have a map marker per se. I mean, you could set one yourself, but you don't have, a glowing spot to go to on the map to go fight the Elden Lord. It's not like that, right? Really, all you have to do is use a little bit of logic and you can figure out the main story and where to go. And another very important note is that there's no quest journal. There's nothing tracking your goal, right? You're told to do a thing and then you kind of just do the thing. Now, along this journey, if you're lucky, you may encounter an NPC here and there. And of course, when you interact with these NPCs, they may do a typical thing of saying some dialogue. Maybe they'll give you an item and some instructions, and then that's it. That's all that happens. There's no track record of who you spoke to. There's nothing keeping like a note of where they told you to go. There's no thing that pops up on your map. There's no glowing arrow that tells you where to go. Nothing. You have a conversation, and that's it. And sometimes you have to actually talk to the person multiple times for even it to technically, count as progression in the quest line. So that's a whole nother thing. So understandably, this questing system can be seen as extremely unuser friendly, which has made a couple people on the internet very upset. And honestly, I've had a few moments here and there in my playthrough where, I've been salty about it myself. Like, I found out that I missed a major item in the game, like one of the best ones, because I missed a very particular interaction with one person, which locked me out of 2 other quest lines. I'm talking about the Jar Barn and Alexandria quest line. My shit's all fucked up. I don't want to talk about it. I'm very upset. But after my initial frustration, I realized that this might be really good. I don't know, it could be really good world building and making the game really immersive and making the player into the story and wanting to replay it and make sure that they do the Now, very importantly, I'm not saying that making a core system of your game more difficult or inaccessible is always a good thing. But with the massive world of the Lands Between and the deep well of insane and confusing lore all over it, the added effort of making the player do something that's not necessarily, spelled out to you, it becomes extremely rewarding when you find it and when you do it. And I'll say this in a quick example here. Early on in the game, in Limgrave, yeah, that's where it is. There's a particular character that you meet in a place called Murkwater Cave, and that character is...
I'm Patches. Patches the Untethered.
Now, this cave isn't necessarily the first cave you'll go into or the first catacomb you'll go into the game. By the point that you probably end up encountering this character, you've already cleared a few of these before, realistically, just exploring on your own. Now, in the game, once you go through a cave or a catacomb, in the end there's going to be a boss fight, and in order to get the good reward from that cave or catacomb you just cleared, you typically have to defeat the boss. So in Murkwater Cave, you go through, and at the end you encounter a boss named Patches. Now, at this point in your playthrough, you've learned that in order to get the good reward from doing, a cave or a catacomb, you kill the boss. But the fight goes differently, right? You walk in, there's a chest, you open it, a guy jumps out, his name's Patches, he attacks you, cool. Now, once you hit half health on Patches, he stops fighting and begs for mercy. Everything the game has told you up to this point, you were supposed to kill this guy and get the reward. But if you choose not to, that unlocks a huge, long and convoluted quest line that goes up until almost the end of the game. And I said and I had nothing to add to that. It's crazy. He pushes you off a cliff.
They are that gullible.
At some point, it's this whole thing. It's really nuts. If you haven't done the Patches quest line, you should do it. I think they're adding more to it. I don't really know. I think they already did. I don't know. I finished it. And this is just one example of a quest that is extremely easy to miss over. I mean, realistically, I've raised my mic too high. This is just one example. Realistically, all the quests, the side quests in this game are extremely off the beaten path, if you will. They're a little convoluted, hard to do. You probably will need guides to get through them, but having the experience of finding the first thing yourself is extremely rewarding, or completing the whole quest just by listening is extremely rewarding. For another example, doing Bach, I believe, the demi-human, his quest line is really cool because, you know, he's like this tree that's talking and you're trying to figure out where he is. I found him, you know, myself, and kind of went through his quest, I guess. I don't know, it sounds like crazy, with no guides, and that was really fun. And then you have like something like Fia's quest line, which is so fucking nuts. Like it takes you all over the game, multiple boss fights, and the only way that you start that and can progress that is by hugging her like 8 times. So that's a thing too. It's a very strange quest. It's very, very weird. You just keep hugging her, and then she, I'm not gonna spoil it, but yeah, super wacky. Hell, there's certain quests in this game that you do, and they directly cancel out other side quests that you can do, making it actually impossible to get 100% playthrough on one playthrough. And there's some that even alter your entire ending of the game. I'm talking to you, Hayeta, you fucking scoundrel. A quick little tangent. My favorite thing that I've seen online is when people accidentally find that the door where the 3 fingers are, and like they get the frenzied flame without doing the Hayata quest line. So they're just like, oh, what's this crazy door? And they open it, and then they turn into the Lord of Chaos at the end of their game, and they don't know why. And it like, if you see those posts on the subreddit, it's really funny. They're just like, but yeah, that's just my tangent there. The main point is that this game does not hold your hand. It doesn't hold your hand in the combat, it doesn't hold your hand in the storytelling. And for anyone that's into extremely rich and deep games, anyone that's into a sense of your actions mattering, a sense of your immersion being extremely important to the developers, so you're not thinking, oh hey, it told me to go there. You're trying to figure out where there is and how to achieve this and what's the next step, and etc, etc. This game is a perfect storm of all of that. It has an incredible gameplay loop, and of course this amazing sense that there is always something hidden right around the corner. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed my little rant about Elden Ring and why it's good and my favorite aspect of the game. Drop a sub if you would like to, and follow my Instagram, my Twitch. I go live every day. And yeah, I'll see you all in hell. Bye!